John, we're out here, 7:30 in the morning. So just came up. What are we doing out here?
We're fishing one of my favorite little bitty lakes, and it's only 80 acres. And what makes it really cool, it's got a little river flowing through it, and in the late fall, the smallmouth come out of the river and they gang up in the lake, and this is where they winter. They migrate out of the river into the lake, and the lake's pretty small, as you can see. And you have a lot of population of smallmouth, which around my house, this is like 25 minutes from my house, I have an opportunity to catch a lot of smallmouth. It's not a big fish fishery, but there you catch some 3-pounders and occasionally a 4-pounder. You catch a decent largemouth now and then. It's got a shad-based forage, which the fish are nice and fat. You'll see. I mean, gives you an opportunity to fish for a lot of fish. And
you know what? I got to stop you there for a second because I know you're going to ask me this later and you mentioned the word fat. So I just want to tell you right now, before you even ask, that outfit does really make you look fat.
Does it really?
It makes you look
well. The last time
extremely
we fished,
fat. So
I just fished in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and I thought that kind of gave away my physique.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you today if this outfit made me look fat, and the answer is
extremely fat. Extremely fat.
Well, you know, we got winter coming up. Maybe I could do something about that.
You're like a bear. You're like a bear. You're putting it on so that, well, you don't hibernate though. But
I used to be able to fish it off during the summer, but something happened. I don't fish it off anymore.
Now, John, this is a lake I'm particularly interested in fishing in because in the March and April edition of the National Spoon Plugger, you gave a detailed analysis of this lake, provided a map along with a description of every single spot that produced on this lake.
Correct.
So I will put this in the video, so guys can see, and maybe as we go along, you can mention where we're at. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up to M.
Well, one of the whole ideas of this video is getting people to understand how they can extend their season. I mean, years and years ago, I used to yell at you guys from Chicago for not getting out till mid-June, late June, early July, and all you ever did was troll for the northerns. I mean, you can extend your season by taking the knowledge that you have, by becoming a great troller, understanding structure, breaks and break lines, and weather and water conditions, see how fish move, and extend your season right after the ice comes off all the way up until that time that you would normally start fishing. So you can get it 2.5 months in the spring and another 3 months in the fall, or at least a couple of months. Extend your season by using different speed controls and applying your knowledge that you already know in the places where you know or have an idea where they're going to be in the late season.
I know for myself, I never fished after maybe Labor Day, and that was because I was teaching, but since I've extended my season, it's opened up a whole new arena of fishing. So it got me going, and hopefully it'll get some other spoon pluggers going.
When I was young, 18 years old, I was learning how to spoon plug, and I met Denny Collardo. And Denny Collardo taught me how to catch fish in early and late season. So I'm giving credit 100% of what I know to Denny and Buck. You know, Buck for giving me the knowledge to learn about spoon plugging, having the ability to learn about weather and water, structure, breaks and break lines. I mean, that's all his stuff, nobody else's. And I've spent a lot of time on the water in my life from when I was 18 and now I'm 65. And it's all their stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
I've just learned to apply it.
Absolutely. And the fact that, like Buck, who shared his entire life, that's what you're doing. And, you know, the spoon pluggers across America appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to share your knowledge, not only in the videos, but also on Jim Shell's website, spoonplugger.net.
Well, Jim's done a hell of a good credit to all of us.
Well, you know what? I'm tired of giving other people credit. Let's start fishing, okay? Let's
rock.
get out there and
let's rock.
Let's do it.
One thing about this kind of stuff, you have to have some knowledge of where to do what. now, because it's kind of like the guy back trolling the night crawler thing in deep water for the walleyes. You better have an area that you know that you're going to be around them.
Yep.
And that's where spoon plugging knowledge, previous spoon plugging knowledge comes into this.
Structure
Because
breaks and break lines, right?
We're fishing slow. We're fishing small baits on light line. I had a guy ask me not too long ago, how many spinning rods you got? And it was kind of like a kick in the face a little bit, like making fun. And I judge my success on the amount of fish I catch. What I have to do to catch them means nothing to me. I buy tools that allow me to control my depth and speeds for the tools I'm using. You know,
And
if you're going to go play golf,
Yep.
you're going to have more than one golf club.
Yep. And Buck said that. I don't care what you use.
That's right.
Okay. But in the end, it's
That's
the
right.
result. It's catching the fish.
I let how many fish I catch as being my success or failure. You have a couple guys in the boat. You have one guy throw a blade bait, which is the faster speed, and the guy in the back, or somebody else throw a slower speed, like a light jig on light line. And then you see maybe throw a swim bait and reel it real slow.
So, John, why did we pick this area to start?
This is the sharpest breaking, steepest stuff in the lake. Everything else, there's one place on the north area where deep water swings in close to the shore. That's a late fall spot. In this area we're fishing right here, we have a couple 100 yards of where the deep water swings in close to the bank. It's a sharper break. And that's usually, the steep stuff is what you normally want to fish in the fall.
In the fall,
In the
huh?
late fall. Short movements. It's not very far for the fish to go from the deep water. There's one. Whoops, I missed one. First cast of the day.
So how deep are we sitting, John?
We're sitting about 24 right here.
Okay, and where are we throwing to? How deep?
Casting up into about 18.
Okay.
If you get bit the length of your cast a lot, then you know the fish are a little bit shallower. So you move in and
Okay.
work a little shallower. If you don't get any bites until you get halfway back to the boat, then you position the boat and do a little more parallel casting once you find out what depth they are. But this stretch here, 100 yards, 200 yards, is probably the most productive spot area in the whole lake. And there's little breaks out here. They could be, they are scattered all along here. And this bay up here on the south end ahead of us is a real flat. The deep water stops at the entrance to the bay, and then it gets real flat back in there, and they don't get back in there this time of year. They still will come out here and get in 20 or 25 feet of water in the
Got
winter.
one. I got one.
Jim scored.
Yeah.
Is it a Rocco or a smallmouth?
I don't know.
It's a Rocco.
It's a Rocco. But it is a fish. That took
But you
about
know what?
3 minutes.
Pretty good.
Now that fish was relatively close to the boat.
Okay.
There's one. That feels like a smallie. Yep, that's a smallie.
Pretty close to the boat.
Yep, right underneath the boat. Right underneath
Yeah,
the
that's
boat.
a nice smallie.
Yeah, that's a nice smallie. Let's get that puppy in there. All right,
There we go, Jim.
first smallie of the day.
Like I say, you know, that's why one guy throws something different, a different speed control, than the other guy. So you know what's going on.
What do you say, John? That's a little bit better than average?
It is. It is a little better than average.
Okay. Nice fish.
Every time we catch one, we'll spot lock and work it over.
Now, John, this particular spot here, on the map, am I correct, this is spot D?
Yeah. Yeah, we started at spot D.
Okay.
And you see the whole length that I have it marked is pretty much the sharper break into the deepest water in the whole lake, except for one other spot.
Trip up in.
Bales finally got one.
All right.
Little smallie, I believe. A little bit bigger than a baby. There you go, boys. Fun, fun, fun. Thanks, fish.
There he is. There he is. Another smallie.
In the cold water season, spring and fall, the three tools that we use for the slower speed controls are the blade baits, a light jig, and a swim bait. And they all, I look at the blade bait as a faster control, the swim bait the next slower, and then the jig the slowest. You really don't, you need to throw all three. They're just good tools for checking depth and speed in cold water. That's it.
And when you're saying you got to throw all three, what do you mean by that?
Oh, you got to check it.
So you're going to use all three of those lures during the day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it could change during different times of the day.
Right. Right.
You know, neither one of us have been setting the world on fire.
No. But I got the lure that Chucky was catching them on, so I got one up on you, John. Switch.
All right, I'm gonna start helping you.
Okay.
This is my first cast I made with a blade bait since there's one hit me on the way down. See, that's a sign that that fish is a little more active, and it's a smallie.
Great.
Smallie. Little smallie. It's all right, buddy. Thanks.
Now, what do you got on there now, John?
I got a 3/16 ounce jig
There's one. Oh,
with,
that's a good one.
with 6-pound test line.
You whack that thing. Ooh. Yeah, that's why he's. There's another one. Do you find that they're hitting this when you pick it up or on the drop?
On the drop.
Okay.
You wouldn't know that because you're not feeling for the drop. Someday I'll teach you how to fish a blade bait, Jim. You want to know how?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, I'm out there. Okay. All right, I'm out there. I'm on the bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
How do you go through the mechanics?
You lift it.
You lift it and you drop your
Drop it.
rod very slowly towards your lure so it drops straight down so you feel a bite. Then you jump it again. Go ahead, jump it again. Now drop your rod to very slowly while you're feeling for a bite.
Okay.
You don't lift it and drop your rod because you're gonna miss every single bite.
Okay.
Like I just did.
And the lift isn't very high.
The lift isn't very high this time of year. And
So-
I'm not kidding you, you will feel almost every single bite. You lift it and you slowly drop your rod back while you're feeling for a bite.
Got it.
And it's 95% of all your hits will come on the fall.
Okay. So do you feel like I can't count those fish I've caught already?
No, I'm saying you catch a lot more if you do it my way.
Okay.
Not only that, you'll feel more bites. I mean, you'll feel almost every bite.
I'll probably hook up a lot better too.
If you think about it too much, it's everything jig fishing, blade bait fishing, jump type lure fishing is all a rhythm.
Yeah.
And since 99% of your hits come on the fall, you don't want to jerk it up and throw your rod down because you're missing your bites as it's falling.
Okay.
I mean, that right there should make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hop it up and keep your rod up. You have plenty of room to set the hook, even with your rod up.
So you're basically you're in control the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that you feel when you go to hop it that are already on there already took that rascal on the fall and you missed him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of times when you reel and drop your rod and then next time you go to hop it there's a fish on it, that's because you already missed him.
Yeah.
You're lucky the thing is still there. Now watch, you won't get any more bites because of it. Because you'll be thinking too much about what you're doing.
No, but you talked to me about this before.
I know.
And it's I've seen you do it. I've been in a boat, doing it. But bad habits are hard to break.
Well, you know what? If nobody tells you, how do you know?
Yeah. See, my problem is I'm like this. I'm like I jump it way too high.
No, in the summertime you want to jump it high. Yeah, sometimes even in the fall. But you want to feel it as it's dropping back down. And you can't do that by lowering your rod tip as it's sinking. As you're
giving slack to your line. Yeah.
I don't even reel in any line until I get done feeling. I reel down, then hop it again.
And so it just swings back to the bottom like a pendulum.
It does. If you drop your rod tip slowly back as it's sinking, it's dropping more straight down.
Okay.
But if you hold it up, yes, it is coming back towards you. That's why I do the same thing with the jig. I drop it back ever so slowly as it's sinking with a little bit of a bow in your line, and you feel almost every bite. In real cold water on a jig, a lot of times they'll suck it in, you won't feel a bite. But on a blade bait, you do feel a lot of your bites.
There he is.
All right.
Molly, great big 9-inch, or no, that's a 10-incher at least. Right underneath the boat. Jeez.
Man, I am not feeling any of those bites. Oh, Jesus. That one pounded it. Oh, he's okay. Heck, he's a nice small one. Look at her, I got one on my...
Yeah, he ate that thing.
Yeah,
too.
he did. I mean, he slammed it. Get off there. All right. I might be out here a little far. We might want to, before we're done, we might want to move in just a little here.
Okay. I mean, you want me to get out and push or what?
No.
I don't have any control there, John. enough.
Got one?
Yep.
All right.
That's far enough.
Maybe you got stuck with a hook.